Live. I've been wanting to do another live. And to be honest, I'm getting more comfortable just being on lives. So I want to talk about something uncomfortable. Let's do it. Let's get uncomfortable. I want to talk about uncomfortable topics. Do you know why I want to talk about uncomfortable topics? The reason why I feel uncomfortable topics are important to dive into is because I just feel a lot of us we lie on the beds of comfort in life, and there's no alarm clock that shakes us from that reality, right? We are so comfortable in the beds of lies. We're so comfortable with people just not stirring the pot, not making us think past our normal lazy thoughts, that when people challenge us, it becomes like distasteful. So it comes off as, why are you telling me these things? I don't feel comfortable. And as a dad, I want to talk about some uncomfortable topics. So the topic that I want to make people just feel uncomfortable with is bullying. It's a real thing, guys. It's a real thing. And in this day and age, I feel like anybody can get bullied. I remember back in the day, growing up, I remember being bullied. I had this one bully. Every gym class, this guy would want to slap box with me. Now, slap boxing is popular in certain neighborhoods. A lot of urban neighborhoods is very popular, right? And he would want to slap box, but I was the shy, introverted kid. So I didn't want nothing to do with it. But he didn't give a damn. Every gym class, I remember he would slap box and he would slap me. And I would just try to duck away, try to avoid it. But every time he would do this, and I would just be like, this is something I don't want to be involved with. Thank you for joining, guys. We're talking about some uncomfortable topics as far as dadhood. So we're talking about bullying. And there's a lot of instances in this world where kids are just being bullied more than usual. More than usual. I think the rising of bullying has increased in the world. What's up, guys? Good to see you guys. Thanks for joining in. So we're talking about bullying. Now, what do you guys think? Do you guys think bullying is something that will help kids grow? Or do you guys think bullying is something that we really need to keep a watchful eye on? What do you guys think when it comes to bullying? Dano says bullying is wrong. Yep, you're right. Bullying, honestly, I was just describing. I had this bully back in the day. Like every time he would try to like take money from me, and it was like I was the shy, introverted kid. So I wanted nothing to do with this guy. But he just saw that as a weakness. So every time in school, he would pick an opportunity to mess with me. So he would try to get like money out of me. He would try to just basically exhibit his dominance over someone that he feels is weak. Because back in the day, if you're not like part of the popular crowd, if you're not loud, if you're not exhibiting like some macho-ness about you, it's like people see that as a weakness. So when they see you come to school and you're quiet and you're reading a book, because it's crazy in certain neighborhoods, if you're reading a book, you're a nerd. I never understood that. I never understood that. Like people will pick on you for doing the most non-violent or just innocent thing as picking up a book and reading. It's crazy. And back in the day, I used to love to read. My favorite books. What's up, guys? What's up, Nira J? I think I'm pronouncing that right. Nira Ray. What's up? What's up, Maddie? Thanks for joining in. And I remember I used to love reading Goosebumps. You guys know Goosebumps by R.O. Stein? That was my favorite series. I used to love reading those books. And I feel like every time I read those books, I would read the next one. I would finish it. I would read the next one. I would move on and keep going to the next one. And people would see me as a nerd because I like to read. But I honestly didn't care, to be honest. Just reading these comments. Yeah, thank you for everyone coming in and joining. I appreciate you guys. So the topic, guys, that I want to continue on is bullying. And I remember being in school and I seen some of my friends get bullied. And back in the day, when you got bullied as a millennial, back in the day, it was different. When you got bullied and you came home and told your parents that you got bullied, what would be the thing that you would normally hear them say to you? Defend yourself. Put your hands up. Somebody hits you, you hit them back. That's what they would tell me. That's what they would tell me. But now, as a grown adult, I'm thinking, is that the really right thing to say? I like, of course, you want your kids to defend themselves, right? You want your kids to defend themselves. You don't want your kid to just stand there and be a punching bag, right? That's not what anyone imagines their kid to be. But these kids today, they are different. Thanks for joining in, guys. These kids today are different. Like, they are not the kids compared to how I was raised as a millennial now. Like, we grew up a certain way. Like, there never was a such thing called cyberbullying when I was growing up. I didn't know nothing about any cyberbullying because me as a millennial, my train of thought is cyberbullying. Pull the plug. What do you mean? They bullying you over line? Pull the plug out. There's no such thing as cyberbullying. That was my train of thought. You know, like somebody's bullying you on Facebook. Why are you continuing to type? Like that'll be my thought, you know. But this is the day and age we live in where people are getting bullied online and people are being mean to each other on X, they call it, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. They're being mean to each other. They're sending cruel messages. And it's like, how do you manage these things? You know, how do you raise your children to understand that we live in a different world? And there's going to be things that you have to show your children. Because a lot of times your children are going to go through things that you never went through. There's a lot of things that's different in this world compared to when I was growing up. I don't think bullying was that rampant compared to today. I feel like kids have a new response to bullying. And a lot of kids, unfortunately, are taking their lives based on what's going on with this bullying. And in my opinion, I feel like as a parent, you have to really take bullying seriously. You cannot just say, you know, the cliche saying some parents say, oh, kids will be kids. Kids will be kids. No, kids will be kids based on how you react and how you teach them as adults. Because you're going to be the one to try to influence what kids are doing. By you saying kids are being kids, you're taking your accountability out of it. That's how I see it. And we cannot just say kids will be kids as adults. We have to be involved. We have to step in and see what these kids are doing in school. Who are you talking to? Who are your friends? Who is that person over there that's smiling at you? Who's that person over there that's frowning at you? All of these things we have to really put into place. One of my sister's friend hung herself with a rope and killed herself and she was getting bullied. Yeah, Thanos, it's real serious. It's real crazy out in this world that we live in. And unfortunately, there's kids that just cannot take it. Like kids, they react completely when it comes to bullying. It's like a whole new thing. What's up, Lewis? How you doing? Bullying is serious, and we cannot just take it so simply. We have to really understand how toxic it can be in this day and age. Hello, how are you? Do you remember? No, maybe you've been on here before, Lewis. I don't remember. I don't remember you though. But welcome in. But what would you guys think about how we can react to, or how we as parents can put a stop to bullying? Do you guys believe that we're able to make adjustments when it comes to kids being bullied? Let me know what you think. And honestly, we just gotta continue on this road of being in our children's lives and understanding that they go through a lot of things that we possibly didn't go through. Because we live in a different world. We live in a world where things are changing drastically. It's not going to be the same as before. Like me growing up as a millennial, I remember we went on those hot metal slides. That was our thing. The metal slides were like the millennials' favorite slides. It was not the same as today. Today, kids got the little plastic slides. They got certain little play toys that they have, but it's just not as it's not as fun as it was back in the day, at least not in my opinion. And it gets to a point where we just have to understand with kids, we have to know what we're doing, how we're going to be more active in their lives, and understand that they're going through a lot of things that we possibly didn't go through. Like the whole pandemic, for example. The whole pandemic really shook a lot of people up. And a lot of people were got to a point where it was just like so socially awkward. Like people did not want to be in the home anymore. Like the whole pandemic made people feel like they couldn't talk face to face with another human. And it got to that point where it was just like, man, like, are we ever going to become normalized again? Will we ever get to a point where we don't have to wear a mask? And that was not that long ago. But thinking back to those days, I'm like, that's crazy how it was just here and we had a different state of mind during that time. We really thought we were going to have to wear masks for the rest of our lives. Like the pandemic really shook people's thoughts. I remember people were in the stores buying wipes, sanitary wipes, to wipe down every countertop, wipe down every item from the grocery store you carried in your home, because we were scared of this COVID when it first came out. Now everybody's just back to coughing in your face. Who cares? I don't care if you get sick. COVID is like the regular flu now. That's how it's treated. But we gotta really understand like how to just get back to watching over our children and understanding that they go through a lot of things. And this bullying topic, we really need to be on it. We cannot allow our children to go through schooling throughout the years and not know who they're speaking to, not knowing who they're hanging out with. Every day I'm asking my children, my older daughter, I should say specifically, I'm asking her, who's your friends? Who are your friends? Because I'm trying to just get that conversation going with her and letting her know that I'm interested in who she's hanging out with and how do you feel about this person? Because believe it or not, a lot of our children hang around people that we may not approve of. We may not approve of a lot of our children's friends if we knew who they were hanging out with. And a lot of our children's friends do inappropriate things that we never seen. And the funny thing is, we will never know if we don't be involved in our children's lives. The unfortunate part is you cannot know about everything in your children's lives because you're not there with them 24/7. You have a job. As an adult, you have somewhere to be. You have to work. Whether you work remote or not, you have responsibilities. So you cannot be in your child's life 24/7. So there's going to be things that they can possibly hide from you. That's the scary thing. Your kids are able to hide certain details of their lives because, like I said, they're not with you 24/7. So you really don't know what your kids are doing fully. You may know what they're doing at certain times based on what they tell you, but there's other stages of your child's life where you're just like, who are you? Like, who is this child that I think I'm raising? Because you look at your child and you're like, all right, I think I'm raising a certain child. But believe it or not, your child probably acts a different way than they would act at home with you. Because you think about when you were younger and you were going to school, you wouldn't do certain things around your parents that you did around your friends. And that's the scary truth about it. Like I know my daughter, she acts a certain way in school. She does good in school, but I know around her friends, she would probably act a certain way that she wouldn't want to show to me. And that's the truth about it. That is the truth about it, about kids. Kids will act certain ways in front of their friends that they don't want to show to their parents because they feel like their parents would disapprove, right? Disapprove or, you know, scold them for if their parents ever seen them act in a certain way. And I remember back in the day, I used to get in trouble for like stupid stuff. I used to not listen to the teachers, and then I'll end up getting I think back in the day, I had my PlayStation. I'll get my PlayStation taken away. And I hated that. That PlayStation was that was my thing back in the day, video games. Like to be honest, I would prefer to get a spanking than my PlayStation taken away. That to me was like the ultimate punishment. What kind of PlayStation? So back in the day, I had the original PlayStation, PlayStation 1. And I hated that. If I got in trouble, anything happened at school that my mom disapproved of, that PlayStation was taken away immediately. She didn't play no games. She did not play any games. If I was not listening in school and the teacher had to call her at her job and tell her, your son has not been listening, he's been acting up in school, I knew I was in trouble. I knew it. And it depended on the severity of the punishment, as well, the severity of what I did wrong. So if I did something really bad in school, I know I'm getting a beating when I get home. I knew it. But if I did something kind of less severe, more than likely I would get something taken away from me. And like I said, I would prefer my PlayStation. No, I would prefer to get the spanking than my PlayStation taken away. That to me was like the ultimate punishment because my mom would keep that PlayStation for like a week and a half or so before she really speaks to me again and gives it back. And that week would had to be the longest week ever. Me not being able to play the game, it was crazy. But now me as a dad now, thinking back to those times, and now I have 2 kids of my own. So now I'm like thinking of how can I as a dad think of ways to understand my children more and understand what makes them tick, what makes me think of something that will affect them if they're doing something wrong. What can I be able to take away? Because like I said in the previous video, there are going to be times when your children will test you. You will eventually become the villain. Eventually. You're not going to always be your child's superhero. Let me read what Thanos said. If the school calls my mom when I walk in the door, she's standing there with a belt on hand. Yup. My mom was the same way. My mom was the same way. That belt, she had that belt ready for me. And sometimes she would have me retrieve that same belt. I would have to go get that belt for her to beat me with. And of course, when you got to retrieve a belt, you try to pick the softest belt possible. Like you analyze the belt, but you can't take too long. Because you take too long, you're going to get it worse. So I had to analyze the kind of belt that I'm getting. I had to look at the belt and be like, all right, she's going to hit me with this. This one doesn't look like it has, like the strips don't look as severe when it will clash with my skin. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, but like I said, you take too long getting the belt, it's going to be worse. Anyway, yeah, I digress. So what was I just saying? I was just saying something I got completely thrown off because of the belt. Yeah, kids. Just understanding how to react to your children, because they will not always see you as the hero. You know how you may be a young dad, young parent, and your children sees you as Superman, right? Because young kids, they see their parents as the heroes. But there's going to come a time where you're going to make an unpopular decision that they're not going to like. I made this example the other day. I was like, for example, your kids are having fun at an amusement park and you're looking at your watch. You're like, all right, so it's getting really late. That's what you're saying to yourself in your head. I want to drive home, get these kids ready for bed so I can do what I need to do for the next day. So now here you go in your head. You're like, I got to say something. I can't let these kids keep playing. All right, 5 more minutes and we're leaving. Sometimes you got to give your kids a little warning. Because if you just say, let's go, it kind of ramps up the severity of their tantrum. It does that sometimes. So I like to just throw out a little warning, a little heads up. Listen, we leaving in 5 minutes. Y'all got 5 minutes. Because I realize when you don't give any kind of warning and you just say, let's go, the tantrums are like 2 times higher. It's just crazy. But if you give a little warning, you'll still get a tantrum. Don't get me wrong, but it won't be as bad in my experience because you gave a little warning so they know in their head, we got to get going sometime. But that's just an example. Like kids, they want you to always say yes. Can I go play? Yes. Can I go sleep over at someone's house? Yes. Can I jump off the bridge with a towel around my neck like I'm a superhero? Yes. No. What? You can't do that. You can't do that. And in that moment, you will become the villain. The minute you start saying no to your children, you are the villain. No matter what kind of love you had behind that no. And that's why you have to start showing your kids You have to, matter of fact, you have to start telling your kids no at an early stage. Let them hear it. No. And don't explain your no. Some no's don't need an explanation. Because your kids will be like, why? Why is it no? Why are you telling me no? Let your no be a standalone no. Don't explain nothing. Some things you can explain, but all your no's, they don't need an explanation. You don't need to always explain to your children why you're saying no. Just like as a grown adult, you don't have to explain to another grown adult why you're saying no. No, for some reason, to some people feels like it requires an explanation. Like when you say no to certain people, they look at you. They look at you a certain way, like they're expecting an explanation for why you're saying no to them. But think about all the questions you got in your life. Yo, son, you want to go to the club? No. Why? Yo, why not? You got people that was going to question every little thing you say to them. Every little thing. It doesn't matter what the question is, but people will question you because they don't like to hear the word no. And some people are not accustomed to hearing no. No is like a curse word in a foreign language to some folk. So when you say no, that you see their face just scrunch up. No. What do you mean no? Like, I don't understand that. What are you talking about? Nah, you gotta run that back. What did you say? No. Let your no be a no. Stop explaining all this. And it applies back to our kids. Our kids need to understand that everything in life is not going to be explained to them. It's not going to be explained. There's going to be certain situations in life that happen, certain situations where you as a parent, because you know better, you know certain logic behind why you're saying the things you say, that you're just going to say no. And your children are going to not like you in the moment. They're going to see you as that supervillain. Why is he telling me no? This is not like daddy. This is not like mommy to tell me no. Where is this coming from? Do they not love me anymore? They must not like me anymore because they're telling me no. Let me read the comments. When my friend's mom say no to a sleepover, he starts screaming at the top of his lungs. Yeah. Just like I was saying, some people are not used to hearing the word no. No sounds foreign to someone that's always used to hearing yes. It sounds very foreign to certain people. And the younger you are, if you keep hearing yes, right? If you're a young child, think about it. A young child, everyone says yes to this child for everything, for the majority of their young life. And then one person at their school, maybe an adult that they don't know, or an adult that they semi know, says no to them for the first time. Can you imagine the type of tantrum that child is going to have when everybody at their house tells them yes all the time? That's like a tantrum blown out of proportion because they're looking at the situation like, how dare you, Mrs. Jackson? Just made up that name. Mrs. Jackson, you're telling me no? What do you mean? I don't understand why you're telling me no. Mommy and daddy say yes. That's what I'm used to hearing. But the word yes is more likely going to spoil your child more than the word no. No, I feel, prepares your child more for the world that they're about to experience. It prepares them. Yes, I just feel like it just makes you more comfortable. When too many people say yes to what you want, it makes you comfortable to a world that is most likely not like that yes. To a world that doesn't like you. A world that will not love you like the people in your life, your personal life. When you start hearing no for the first couple times, I feel like it's prepping you for the world that you're about to experience. The genuineness of people's dislike for you. To enter into certain environments knowing that some people are just not going to like you. They're just not going to like you. And that's the reality of it. But guys, I appreciate you guys coming on here, and I hope you guys subscribe to my channel. I hope I see you guys again. And I just want to share this live with you guys about my thoughts on the bullying, and I will be back on here. Till next time, guys. Peace.